Thank you. I'm going to get into, we'll give you just a brief overview, just overall what we're talking about in terms of market. You know, you guys are out there cutting, shipping, you'll send a couple loads a day, but a couple loads here, a couple loads there, you'll see how quickly it adds up and what the size of this market is. And then we'll talk about what that translates into in terms of economic activity and ultimately jobs. And really, at the end of the day, that's what we're really trying to focus on here, is that rural economic activity, jobs, and then and from all that falls out the silvicultural benefits and the other benefits that come from it. Right now, well, this talks about the actual economic importance, and we did two pieces. We did a survey of the actual power plants themselves, so we have some hard data from them, and then we did some extrapolation when we looked at the power plant, some of the supplier data. In a nutshell, power plants, 120 megawatts of power. What you're concerned about is wood chips, 1.8 million tons a year. It's a lot of chips. Give you a perspective, Berlin was about 1 million tons. So these plants, the beauty of these plants, number one, it's a big market. Number two, it's sprinkled across the landscape. So if you're bidding a job in New London, or if you're bidding a job in Whitefield, you have proximity to market. And that helps you in terms, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, that helps you with your trucking efficiencies and some of your operational costs. You heard Mike's numbers. We took those, looked at number of direct employees. These are folks that I say inside the fence. They're working inside the fence at the power plants. It's about 150, $15 million, $15.6 million roughly in payroll. That's money that's coming into the economy. It's of course circulating around. This does not include any of those indirect benefits or what they call circulation, the circulation effect. And then some of the other costs that filter out of that, maintenance, and again, Mike talked about this, some of the permitting, the administrative stuff, those all filter out. But at the end of the day, we're looking at $71.6 million. Hundreds telling me that's more than that. Okay. But this is just to give you a baseline, kind of give you an order of magnitude of what we're talking about. It's a lot of dollars, it's a lot of wood chips, and that's why this is an issue that's important to all of us. When we look at suppliers, now we're looking outside the fence. And this is a real tough number to get a hold of because folks jump in and out of the shipping business. People change their crews. Some people, and not all contractors who do shipping chip every single job. But just bear in mind that a rough estimate, it's about 260. And we did a survey. We did a survey of 20 of them, 20 of these suppliers. Chip production amongst the 20 of them, about just over half a million tons of chips. Pulpwood, 149,000 tons. Firewood, 35,000, and 31.9 million board feet of saw timber. Okay, of those contractors, you're looking at 237 employees of those 20 contractors. Of those payroll, 9.2 subcontractors. Think about it. Not all logging contractors have dirt work opportunity or dirt work capabilities. So if you buy a timber sale and you have to put a road in or grub out a landing, you may call the guy down the road to come in with his dozer and do some of that work on a subcontract basis. So that's a significant part. Of course, your payroll, your unemployment tax, workers' comp. Again, you're looking at roughly another $2 million there. Again, equipment, your loans, maintenance and repair. A lot of that maintenance is done in-state. Just due to the nature of the equipment, you're dealing with rolling stock, shears, slashers, that stuff that's done in-state. And of course, your insurance, your fuel. We all are painfully aware of the fuel. We all know that number's low. And then vehicle registration. So again, this is $37.8 million is what we're looking at just for those 20 suppliers. This is, again, just trying to give you guys a order of magnitude of what we're dealing with here. Now, one of the things that I wanted to shift gears a little bit on, so that's kind of the overall view. Mike had talked about some of the markets and how they're affecting it, and I just wanted to give you an update on one of the things that is an opportunity. And this is we're all looking for ways. We know there's a problem out here. These power plants are coming off contract. What is something we can do? One of the things that we've identified that we can do, and we've had conversations with the senator and others, is look at what are called the Renewable Portfolio Standard. And this is the bill, this is that 6.5% of load that Mike had talked about. The law was passed in '07. It creates this, what they call a secondary market for those credits, and then class 3 is what is the existing biomass. One of the things that we've noticed in this market, though, is, and one of the unintended consequences, is that you have this market, and it's a situation that's created where when the law was developed, the expectation was that it was going to be there to help support our existing biomass plants and the infrastructure associated with that. And again, thinking back to it, we wanted to, at the time in 2007, the intent was how do we grow the renewable energy industry and at the same time retain what we have. This class 3 was an effort to do that. Well, unintended consequences, one of the things we've noticed is that the way the law was written back then, we've had a number of out-of-state landfill gas generation facilities, by definition, qualify and sell into the market. And as a result, we've seen the price of those certificates decrease. For us, it wasn't the intent of the law. We also look at this and say, geez, this is a problem also from the fact that it's New Hampshire ratepayers. We should be using New Hampshire dollars to support New Hampshire jobs. I'm going to get a little bit protectionist or provincial here, but the fact is that we're contributing to this to support ourselves in terms of our industry and do our homegrown industry here. This is a loophole in that law we need to plug. Over the next year, PUC is having some hearings on this law. Part of it is they're going to do a review. In the packet out front, there's separate information on this. And what we've been doing is we've been participating in this meeting, making sure that the PUC is aware that, hey, we've got these existing biomass plants. We need to try and tinker with this law to fix it so that we can, in fact, support them. And so this is some information in terms of how to contact the Public Utilities Commission and provide them that feedback that they need to hear. Likewise, if you are a wood producer and you want to participate in that wood producers survey, Sarah Smith from UNH Cooperative Extension is also the individual gathering that data, and we're going to continue to gather that data with the expectation that we can build a more robust data set there. Again, the thinking is that when we go and have the conversations with our policymakers, we go to make this argument, the more data that we have, the more compelling our argument is. I mean, based on just some rough data now, as we all saw earlier, we have some pretty compelling numbers.